Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature, it is untouched by man? It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, and for those of you that use the QR code or the links provided on Facebook and YouTube, and those of you that are now using Zelle on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. I want to take a moment to thank all of you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So I want to begin by saying to all of our listeners and viewers, if you know someone that is in need of food, have them contact us on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We don't want anyone experiencing food insecurities. We don't want anyone struggling with not having enough food to eat or to feed their family. So we give out food from our public charity, which is New Life Food Source Pantry Incorporated. All they have to do is call on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We will make arrangements for them to pick up food from our food pantry. And we want everyone to know that if you know of anyone who is in need and they can't get out, you can pick up for them. It's okay to help others. Just stop by, pick up. We'll just call first. We'll make certain that you have food to provide for them, but just come by, pick up food. We have plenty of food, and we will continue to make ourselves available to those who may just be in need of a little bit of help, because at some point in time, we all need a little bit of help. I want to ask everyone to share with your family, friends, and coworkers and colleagues. I know you've been tuned in to our internet radio station, WKAPfaith.com, because I can see the data. Encourage your family, friends, and coworkers and colleagues to tune in also. We play music 24 hours a day that will encourage them, it will empower them, and it will inspire them. We want to make certain that we stay connected with everyone. We want everyone to be blessed throughout the day. We want everyone to have the opportunity to just lift their voice and praise God for all that He's done, for His goodness and His mercy, and for all that He's done in all of our lives. So we encourage you to stay connected with us. Continue staying connected with us, and encourage everyone you know to do so also at WKAPfaith.com. And I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, before I do that, I want to remind everyone that effective July 1st, New Life International Community Development Corporation has become your private money lender broker. Text the T-Mobile caller text line. If you're in the real estate business, whether you're flipping houses, whether you're doing development projects, if you need capital, we can make certain that you get capital for your projects. All you have to do is call the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you are having difficulty managing your time, and you want to know what can you do to get control over your life and not be overwhelmed. So let me begin by first of all saying this. If you're having difficulty managing your time, you're also having a difficulty managing your money, because time is money. So, no matter how good you might think it is, you could be more efficient with your capital management also. But I'm going to start with your time, because once you get your time in order, you'll start to find the feasibility to get your capital in order, your money in order. You've got to manage every hour of every day. And what I mean by that is, I like to break it down even a little more simpler than that by saying that every minute has to be on the mission. Every minute has to be important to you. You don't want to waste time. It needs to have a result. You need to get an ROI on every minute of your day, the return on the investment of every breath of life that you take. However, let's focus on just managing every hour, first of all. And that will allow you to get control over your life. So you have to manage each hour of each day. And one of the things that I like to tell everyone is that do not go with the wind. Okay? Don't flow. And I kind of mentioned this in yesterday's sermon. You can go back and review that on our YouTube channel at New Life Christian Center _Pastor Pope. Here's the reality. The problem with most people is they go with whatever way the wind blows. So, meaning this, whatever comes up next, whatever happens to you, you deal with it when it comes. Whatever comes up next that you might feel like you want to do, you do it. You've got to really be more disciplined and focused on ensuring that every hour of the day has a purpose and that you can manage your every hour of every day. So let's start with, for all of our listeners and viewers, let's start with our careers and our professional environment. One of the things that I've often said, and this is going to kind of lead into another communication, but one of the things I've often said is that we all should be working at realistically a 12-hour day. But I'm going to give you the components for a 10-hour day because there are 5 major components in business. There's administration, there's development, there's management, there's marketing, and there's operations. So I allocate 2 hours every day for each of those. Now, I will add in for myself, I also study 3 hours a day. So that keeps me at least on a 12 to 13 hour day. And realistically, it keeps me on about a 13-hour day. And I like to say that because I used an analogy. I take calls from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, but I also need my study time. So I'm going to get that in, but let's focus on, and the reason I said people at least need 12 hours is because you need 30 minutes for meditation, you need prayer time, and you've got to recognize that everything in your life has to mean something. So most people stay up later than I like to stay up. But I'm going to break this down that if you allocate 2 hours for each segment of business, that's a 10-hour workday. That means you're going to maximize your workday, your professional day, because you're putting 10 hours in. Most companies are only going to schedule you for 8 hours. So you're going to be able to exceed expectations, but you've got to be willing to put in that work every single day. So having said that, you've got to manage those hours, manage the blocks of time, and make certain that you're getting a return on the investment of each of those blocks of time. But in those segments, you've got to make certain that every hour means something, that you get a return on the investment of each of those hours. But you cannot allow distractions to take you with the wind. And that's what happens with most people. And eventually what happens is that you feel like life is out of control and you begin to get overwhelmed. Now, all of us will find moments when we will be overwhelmed because we've taken on additional responsibilities. And if you've never been overwhelmed by taking on additional responsibilities, you're living below your capabilities. There's a spiritual component to this. If you're doing everything that you're capable of doing, your vision is too small. Because your vision has to be bigger than you're capable of performing, because then that requires you to trust God to do a work in you that will allow you to maximize your gifts, maximize your talent, maximize your potential. So all of that is part of getting control over your life. In other words, disciplining your life. See, there's some things you cannot control. There's some things God doesn't assign us to control. There's some things that we don't have control over. But what we do have control over is how we invest each hour that God gives us of each day. So you have to recognize that managing each hour is going to allow you, of every day is going to allow you to maximize each day. And once again, the problem becomes the distractions. The problem becomes the things that we desire to do, that we believe are going to give us pleasure, and then the things that others desire for us to do with them, that they believe is going to give them pleasure, to spend time with you doing those things. As I said, we're all going to find ourselves, if you are reaching for your full potential, you're going to find yourself a little overwhelmed from time to time just by expanding your responsibilities. But once you get in the rhythm, you'll find that you are no longer overwhelmed, and you begin to get in what I like to call that sweet spot, and you find that you're capable of allowing God to work in you and through you to accomplish what God desires to accomplish in your life. So, manage every hour. Let's start there. Manage every hour of your day. Let every hour of your day mean something. Now, when you're done with that 10-hour workday, okay, let's say you go into the office let's say you work from 8 to 6. Now you have to decide what you're going to do from 6 p.m. until the time you go to bed. So you have to make certain that those hours beyond that accomplish something also. You've got to make certain that those hours aren't wasted also. So again, I'm going to study, not just to show myself approved, but that's what the scripture says. But I'm going to study so that God can reveal to me what he wants me to do. Because when you focus on what God wants you to do, you'll find that you are able to get in the rhythm so that you're not overwhelmed. So every hour has to be managed. Don't allow distractions, don't allow others to distract you from the purpose that God has placed upon your life. Because the truth of the matter is that you're never going to feel that you're in control of life if you don't surrender that control to what God desires to do in your life. So I want to encourage us all, for all of our listeners and viewers, this communication I thank you for sending this, because this allows us all to bring up our level of awareness, be reminded that he that began a good work in you will complete it until the coming of the Lord. So there's always something more to be done. but you have to do it decently and in order. You can't be windblown. Manage your time. You also manage your money. Make certain that every minute of the day is on a mission. Make certain that as you manage every hour of the day, that you get a return on that investment of the time that you spend on anything. Because if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. But if it doesn't allow you to prosper in every facet of your life, it doesn't make sense either. It's nonsense. Don't get distracted by the things of the world, the pleasures of the world, or the people of the world. Let's get back to the basics and focus on what we need to do, because everything else, what God has appointed for us to do, because everything else is just a waste of time. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Comcast Business. If you need to be more effective and efficient in business, and you're looking for the best telecom solutions for your business, whether you're a small startup or a large enterprise, contact Sarah Jo Boyle at Comcast Business. With personalized service and expertise, she'll help you find the perfect business solution tailored to your needs. Contact Sarah Jo at 215-964-3670 and give your business the edge it deserves. Your code is Pastor Pope to receive exclusive discounts. Contact Sarah Jo Boyle at Comcast Business at 215-964-3670. Your code is Pastor Pope. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you met someone online, however, you live in Washington, D.C., and he lives in Seattle. You want to know, how do you make the long-distance relationship work? The only way you can make a long-distance relationship work is with long-term planning. First of all, you've got to make certain that the relationship is sustainable. And what I mean by that is this. You two are going to have to communicate effectively and efficiently. You're going to find it necessary to visit one another to see if this relationship can work. And then you're going to have to determine if it's going to be the permanent relationship that you desire. You're going to have to determine where you're going to settle. Then you're going to have to look at making career and professional changes. You're going to have to look at what's the best city for the two of you to reside in. You know, there's a lot of things you're going to have to take into consideration. This is one of the, I agree that online dating can be effective. I agree with that. But I also agree that you really need to start in the region that you're in and then work your way out from there. But if you find someone or someone finds you that is in a different region of the country, it doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means it takes more planning. And it's going to take some long-term planning. You can't just on the whim decide, oh, we're going to be together for the rest of our lives, and pack up, and either one of you pack up and move and make changes in your professional career. You can't do that. You've got to plan it all out. You've got to make a long-term plan, and each and every step of the way. So he's the guy in this. He's the man in this. So what he should do is, in addition to you planning what life would look like, adding someone else into the equation, he needs to present you with a 7-year plan. Because this is one of the things I tell people all the time. If a guy is interested in a woman, he's got to have a plan. If he doesn't have a plan for his own life, he doesn't have a plan for the two of you. So he has to present you with a plan. This is what the plan looks like. Moving forward, if we follow this plan, we can get to where we want to go. And if his plan is just to have fun and have some place to travel from time to time so the two of you can, do some traveling and have a good time, that's not a plan. That really is not a plan. Contrary to what you all believe, it's not a plan. A plan says, this is what we're going to accomplish over the next year. This is what we're going to accomplish the year after that. This is what we're going to accomplish the year after that. That's a plan. You've got to know, pardon me, that one of the reasons that I tell people you need to start in your own region is so that you've got some geographical compatibility. Pardon me. But I realize that a lot of people go on these dating sites looking for someone in another area, another region, so that they have someone, and I'm going to ask everyone to pardon me, my allergies are bothering me today, so I had to clear my throat. But a lot of people do that with the intent of, if I find someone in a different area, I can travel. He can fly me in, I can go someplace and hang out, come back home. I don't really have to deal with, him being in my area, so I can go out with my girlfriends. Guys, it's just the reverse. Look, it can't be about that. It's got to be, I'm interested in dating someone that I can work towards setting a date. A date that we can get married. That we can build a great quality of life. And I know society's telling you all the things that are contrary to that, but here's the reality. The reality is the truth will make you free. And the truth is that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor of the Lord. And if he obtains favor, that favor is going to spill over on your life also. We've been just doing things all wrong for so long, we think it's the right way to do them. But it's not. Because there's no right way to do wrong and no wrong way to do right. We've got to realize that there's something more to this than just having a good time and wandering through life aimlessly, using our careers to fund our weekend activities and pleasures. There's more to life than this. And you've got to know that we want to maximize the quality of life. So I say to you, the only way this is going to work is with long-term planning. So that's what you've got to focus on. You've got to focus on what you two have decided that your long-term plan looks like. Are you going to visit one another once a quarter, or are you going to visit one another, twice a year? What kind of commitment are you putting in towards your professional careers so that you can decide who's going to relocate where? You got to take all of that into consideration. There's family dynamics to consider. You gotta take all of that into consideration. However, it's going to require long-term planning if you're going to have a long-distance relationship. That's the only way it's going to work. Otherwise, you might as well find someone in your own city, in your own town, or at least within 30 miles. Because you can get there within 30 minutes. Because at the end of the day, life is about having a plan. And let me tell you why I say that. and this is why I say society just teaches us the wrong things. People will come up with these little catchy cliches. If you want to make God laugh, have a plan. Well, no. If you want to make God laugh, don't have a plan. God showed us from the very beginning he had a plan. He created heaven and earth and all that dwells within in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. That was part of his plan. But he showed us he had a plan for each day. He didn't just create it all. He could have spoke everything into existence in one moment in time. He didn't. Day 1, he did one thing. Day 2, he did something else. Day 3, he did something else. Day 4, he did something else. Day 5, he did something else. Day 6, he did something else. The seventh day, he rested. He had a plan for 7 days. And because we know that one day to God is like 1,000 years, I've been quick to tell everyone you should have a 7-year plan. And then after you establish a 7-year plan, you want to establish a 14-year plan. And then after a 14-year plan, you want to establish a 21-year plan, and a 28-year plan, and a 35-year plan, and a 42-year plan, and a 48-year plan. And if you do that, then your plan will be pleasing unto God, and he'll make the modifications that he wants to make to your imperfect plan. Because the plan we draw is never going to be perfect, but we have one to work from. And then God will make the modifications to make certain that it brings him glory. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, before I do that, I just want to remind everyone this segment of the broadcast is going to be brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stopping at the retail stores, they have everything a man could possibly need. If you're not in any of those areas, you can shop online at Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York with everything you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you are not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated your friendships are very one-sided. You said they are never there for you when you need them. However, you are always there when they need you. You want to know, what can you do to make them know that this is not acceptable? Okay. The first thing you can do is teach people how to treat you, but what you need is new friends, because those aren't friends. Those are people that you know who need you when they need you. Those are not true friends. And what you have to realize is that you have become an enabler. You enable them to need you, but they're not reciprocating when you need them, even for the smallest of things. So you've got to teach people how to treat you when you get new friends, but you need new friends, because the friends you have are not, those are not friends. Those are people that you know who need you, but for your peace, you do not need them. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, this segment of it is brought to you by Comcast Business. If you are looking for the best telecom solutions for your business, whether you are a small startup or a large enterprise, contact Sarah Jo Boyle at Comcast Business at 215-964-3670 and give your business the edge it deserves. Your code is Pastor Pope, and contact Sarah Jo Boyle at 215-964-3670. Your code is always Pastor Pope. Get the exclusive discounts with your passcode, Pastor Pope, at Comcast Business. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you